Hello everyone and welcome to another very special video for Box Gaming. I'm of course Justin,
And I'm Mikko.
and today we're going to be looking at a slideshow, and we're going to be doing commentary over this slideshow of my experience at the Circuit of the Americas this past Friday. So that first picture that we saw was just a sign kind of pointing where to go for the race, saying, F1 this way, which was pretty exciting to see on our way there. That's, of course, this is the gate. You can see the long line of cars there. This was probably at about 7:20 a.m. So you can see the passion for the sport already there. Some of those cars actually are unfortunately people that are just trying to get to work and stuff like that, but most of the cars that you see there are people that were going to the track. That's one of those kind of nice box seat areas that you see. It's got like a little indoor area underneath where I'm sure they got like drinks and stuff like that. This is all like right after the gates open. They said the gates were going to open at 7:30 in the morning. They ended up opening at about 7:50 or 8 a.m. And you could see that fog that they had the problem with during FP1. We noticed that fog on our way to the track. We left for the track at like 6:30 in the morning, I think it was, and the fog was really, really heavy, but we didn't really think twice about it. I didn't consider the fact that it might actually affect the FP1 session.
Is that something that's common in Austin?
I mean, yeah. Austin's kind of like out in the middle of, America's called the big country sometimes, and I mean it's just got so much land, and we're still pretty close to the ocean, so it's not as dry as some people might expect. Some people, when they think of Texas, they think of like long rolling prairies and dry conditions and stuff. So this isn't something you see daily. Certainly, it was especially thick. The speed limit going on the highway to the circuit was like, and that's a great picture there. You could see just the grandstands disappearing into the distance. The speed limit on the highway to the track is like 75 miles an hour, which means everyone's going 80 or 85 miles an hour. Over 120 kilometers an hour, something like that, which was really scary actually when you could only see like 50 feet in front of your car. It was pretty intimidating. But yeah, I didn't really think about it at the time. It did make for some pretty stunning pictures too, and it was really interesting kind of seeing the corners disappear into the fog and all that kind of stuff. It was a neat effect.
So I didn't see FP1 for the start of it. So how long did you have to wait until it started? From the moment that it should have started?
I don't remember exactly. I want to say it was something like 30 or 45 minutes though, because we were actually like walking around the track quite a bit before we decided to settle between turn 10 and turn 11. When we finally sat down, and we could kind of see one of the big screens from where we were sitting, but we couldn't see what it was saying on the big screen. So if they showed a picture of somebody on this screen, I could tell who it was. The screen was big enough for that, but it wasn't big enough for me to actually read the text underneath it. So I saw that the session had been red flagged, but I didn't see like for how much longer. I wasn't really keeping an eye on the time either at this point. That's the pit entrance right there in between turns 19 and 20. And it also, the session started and then stopped again. Originally it was delayed because of the fog, and then it was delayed again because of the absence of the medical helicopter. But yeah, I mean, there's no way that they could have been driving through this. I mean, like I said, it was a challenge just driving on the highway to get to the event. Never mind doing 180 miles an hour into turn 12.
Yeah, if I was a helicopter pilot, I wouldn't pilot a helicopter through a fog like that either.
And actually, what was uncharacteristic of this, the reason the fog was so thick, and they actually talked about this on Sky F1, was because there was no wind. There was no wind at all the whole morning. It was just very calm, very still. It was almost surreal. It was like being in a ghost version of a racetrack. Like, this is where you would imagine Ayrton Senna racing. It was pretty creepy, but there was no wind to blow it away, which made me think, because actually they cleaned the track at COTA with these big trucks that have jet turbine engines on the back of them to blow the dust away. And I was thinking, why don't they maybe just, position those around the track, aim them straight upward? Maybe that would get some sort of airflow going. I'm sure they don't have enough trucks like that at the moment or something, but certainly something that they might actually consider for the future. And there's me in front of the Rolex sign. I was super excited to get my picture in front of the Rolex sign, because that's something you see at all the races, is that green and gold Rolex clock that they bring around with them.
I was just I can't even remember what I was thinking just a moment ago.
Yeah, I know you're still working out all the kinks after getting back from your cruise.
Yeah, it was a bit of a rough ride.
And you can see the Lotus store in the background there. They had team-specific stores all around the circuit. Actually, the food was really good there, too. We didn't do a whole lot of eating just because there was so much to do around the track. But I was worried that it was going to be like a sporting event where it's just, hot dogs and nachos. But, I mean, you could get tacos and burritos and turkey leg and all sorts of stuff. So probably one of the best F1 events for that specific reason, for the food. It was really, really good. Also really expensive, though. It was like $5 for a bottle of water, $6 for a 20-ounce soda, which is like half liter. Like $6 for a half liter of soda, which is pretty expensive. That is, of course, the Rolex sign over the start-finish straight. Couldn't really get a great picture there. Okay, I know this one looks kind of weird. Those are people in the pits. It's really far away and it's really foggy. And I actually had to ask my girlfriend, what is this picture that you've taken here? But those are people in the pits. I don't know if they're important. But they're in the pits. So, I mean, she thought it might be worth taking a picture of. And that's the giant sign, or the giant screen that they have above the pits for the people that are in the grandstands along the start-finish straight to watch. And it was actually showing just a lot of F1 footage before the race. Just like highlights from last year's COTA, highlights from the 2013 season, stuff like that. This is some stewards. We're still along the start-finish straight. All these pictures are in chronological order, so basically you're walking around the track with me. We started at about turn 18, at the very end of that high-speed double right apex in Sector 3, and then down to turn 19, turn 20. Now we're going along the start-finish straight, along the outside, of course. I wish I could do it along the inside. That would have been nice. And so this is from the hill on turn 1 looking down towards the pit lane, and you can see just how foggy it is. I mean, you could barely see the top of the pit building there. I mean, you could barely see the Rolex sign even.
Yeah, I was thinking about was there any security or anything? Was it just, can you just walk inside the
there was
area?
security in the areas like see, there's a tunnel in that picture. There was was security around that tunnel for sure to prevent people from going to the inside. But you can see this black fence here. It's a 2-fence system like most tracks are. There's a silver fence that the stewards and marshals, not stewards, the marshals stay behind. And then there's a black fence. You could push right up on that black fence if you wanted to. They got no problem with that. But because of this hill, it's actually you can see a lot better. As you can see here, the hill kind of drops down towards the fence, so you get a much better view actually staying back away from the fence. But I mean, if you're pushed up on that fence, you're maybe 20 meters from world champion drivers in 750 horsepower V8 Formula 1 cars. So even if you couldn't really see them, I did go right up against that fence just to get the full experience, the sound, the vibrations, the smells. You can even smell these cars. I mean, it's just it was absolutely amazing. This is of course turn 1. These pictures really don't do the steepness of the hill justice. It was very difficult to walk up, and there's really no path either. You're just walking up a grass hill. That's kind of something I wish I had kind of taken more pictures of. I was really focused on the track, but I think it might have been interesting for some people to see kind of what it was like up to the side of the track. And I did actually in the COTA RaceNet video for F1 2013 that I just put out yesterday or the day before. For that video, I do a little kind of track guide where I just go slowly around the course and talk about the differences of the track in real life versus the game and those sorts of things. Places I was sitting, places that I liked sitting. This is still turn 1. I was fascinated by turn 1. Because of the fog and everything, it looks so dramatic. It just disappears off towards turn 2, going downhill, of course, and you can barely even see the main grandstands from this far up.
I was just thinking about you talked about the climb, that it's just a grass hill and there's no path going up. I mean, if there was a like a huge rainfall just before or during the race, I was just thinking if people are just walking up that hill, would it just be like Woodstock or whatever?
Most likely.
Like a massive mud pit or something.
Actually, a lot of kids at the track were doing the thing where you roll down the hill, just lay sideways and roll down a hill. There were kids all over the track that were doing that. There was a hill at turn 18, or in between 18 and 19. There was the hill for turn 1. There was a hill at turn 2, or in between turns 1 and 2, which is where we are now. So this is now past turn 1. Kind of in between turn 1 and turn 2. This is the run down towards turn 2. There's the safety car, of course, which I thought was really cool. I did take a video, actually, of the safety car. I believe that's in the FP1 video that I released. It's really amazing, actually, how much performance that car has. You don't really think about it, but, I mean, that car was really booking it around the track, and it had a really throaty, powerful-sounding engine. I mean, it looked like a blast to drive. And at one point, there's a second car. I think it's the medical car. It's a sedan. It's a 4-seater. At one point, the medical car was racing the safety car around the track in these foggy conditions, just to maybe kind of keep people entertained. I think they were also maybe carrying some guests in the medical car. Some people some high rollers who maybe contributed to a team or to the sport or to Circuit of the Americas in some way. And then this is just a little bit farther down the track. This is after turn 2, going towards turn 3. You can see that bridge there where people are walking up and down kind of in the distance. We didn't find out that bridge was open to the public until after both sessions were over, actually. There's a nice little shortcut over that bridge to get basically from turn 3 over to turn 15, so you can basically cut through the track rather than having to walk all the way around, which is definitely something we're going to have to remember for next year, because we circled the track like 3 times. I think we walked somewhere between 10 and 12 miles on that one Friday. I mean, we were absolutely exhausted. And there's that the same thing again. They also had guards on that bridge to make sure nobody was going to try anything funny. So that there were security people on that bridge as well to make sure nobody was going to try and drop anything on any of the drivers or anything like that. And that's actually one thing that I was kind of concerned about that I realized while I was there. You can look right there on the ground. There's rocks all over the place. If some asshole just decided to pick up a rock and throw it at a driver at 160 miles an hour, I mean, that would be just all sorts of terrible. But luckily, no issues like that. Over 100,000 people there this weekend, and nobody did anything stupid like that. So, in the Boxcast with Yorkie, I did talk about how I think the F1 crowd in America is a slightly higher caliber of person versus maybe the NASCAR crowd would be. No one's going to be throwing any beer bottles onto the track at Circuit of the Americas, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so. Especially with the sport is kind of new and
they don't want to set a bad example either.
Yeah.
It was nice of them to come to do this and everything. And there's one of the forklifts, which this is the same type of forklift that got caught in the gravel in FP2. With the Marusha, which I didn't see until I got home. I was at a different part of the track when that happened. I believe this is turn 7. This was probably my favorite spot to sit. I actually didn't revisit this spot. This is still before FP1, these pictures. I just, we're going around the track, just snap it away pretty much. And this is one of the places that we revisited. We came back to turn 7 and we sat down. and we spent some time there later on in FP2. It was really great because you could see them come out of turn 6 through turn 7 up to turn 8, so you could actually see them from for a few corners rather than just seeing them fly by, which is what a lot of the seating areas were like.
Yeah, I was just wondering about the general admission, how it was like.
The general admission was really nice, actually. I'm not sure how much more expensive it would have cost to get an actual seat, but anybody that gets a seat in the grandstands is also granted access to all the general admission areas, of course. But for practice sessions, I really don't see the benefit of having a seat. Next year, I would like to go to the actual race, and for that, I could see it. I could see there being a big benefit to actually having a seat, assigned to you where no one's gonna be. But for the practice sessions, I really liked the general admission. You save a little bit of money, and you get access to a whole lot of areas. And actually, you can see in this picture here, there's a gap in between the bleachers and the fence. You can even go in there. They let you go anywhere the bleachers aren't, basically. Anywhere that's behind that black fence, pretty much. And I wasn't that brave about it. I didn't go in between the grandstands or anything like that, but I did see people later on sitting in those areas, and kind of made a mental note for next year to maybe. And there's that screen that we were looking at, actually, up there on the right of that picture. That's the screen that we could see. And then this is kind of where we plopped down for FP1, basically. We decided on this place. It wasn't heavily populated. You could see there's some people here, but other areas of the track, certainly turn 1, for example, that area between turn 1 and turn 2 are very popular. And from this seat, actually, you can see off in the distance there, that's the long straight after turn 11, the DRS straight. So from this spot, we could see them coming around turn 10, down towards turn 11, then they disappear for a little bit, and then we get to see them accelerating full throttle out of turn 11 down the long DRS straight. So here you can see this is when the cars actually started running. I gave the camera a little bit of a break while we were sitting down for a bit. I believe that was Jensen. I'm not 100% sure. That's Alex Rossi right there going through turn 10 in the Caterham. He did a great job this weekend. He was faster than Charles Pic and both Marussias. So he did a fantastic job. I think he might be on one of those kind of roles that people get into in motorsports. You get the confidence up, and all of a sudden just everything starts clicking and everything starts coming together. And I think he's just on such a high right now with all of his success that he was able to just go out there in a car and track combination that he's never driven before and really deliver impressive times, actually. And in front of his home crowd, very important day for him, and he did a great job. So it was kind of hard getting a picture of these while they were moving, as you can tell.
Yeah, you really need to have a SLR or something to get a really sharp picture of moving cars. But I was thinking about Alex Rossi. Of course, practice times aren't maybe the best way to measure someone's speed. But just if you compare it to someone like Rodolfo Gonzalez, who crashed in Korea, like inside 5 laps, so at least he didn't do anything silly like that.
Right. And this is actually now at turn 11. For those of you who watched Sky F1, the F1 show last Friday, this is where I was sitting when they showed me holding up my Rossi signs with my girlfriend. This is from that location, kind of at the exit of turn 11. There's kind of a horseshoe shape hill around turn 11, and we're closer to the exit side, so that we could both see them coming down into turn 11 and then exiting out of turn 11 towards that long straight. And speaking of the Marussia, if there's one thing I learned this past weekend, is it's that even a Marussia is just a miracle of modern technology. It really is. Like, as viewers and fans of this sport, we're constantly comparing cars against each other. But when you really stop and look at a Marussia as a car by itself, and maybe just compare it to the car you drive every day, they're really amazing machines. And I would be absolutely thrilled to even drive a Marussia. I mean, those things look incredibly fun. Even the lower end grid cars just look like a blast.
Yeah, I mean, at least a Marussia might still cost $1 million or something to make.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, all of these cars are just absolutely amazing. And it was amazing sitting so close to them as well. I mean, you could feel the vibrations coming from these cars, even just through the ground, through sitting on the grass. You could feel it, and it was truly amazing. And we were holding up the signs every time Rossi came by. I was able to spot his red, white, and blue helmet in the green Caterham pretty easily as he came out of turn 10. So, and also, we figured out whatever car was in front of him each lap, and okay, here comes the Marussia. Rossi's next. Get ready, and hold up the sign. And it was a lot of fun. Not many people had signs. Which is, I think, one of the reasons that we actually got on TV, it got on camera, was because we were, as far as I could tell, really the only people that had signs. There were lots of people that had flags, people with Ferrari flags and Finnish flags and British flags and American flags and Texan flags as well. The Lone Star State Texan flag was popular there as well. We saw also Mexican flags as well. Lots of flags being flown, but not a lot of signs. And I think that kind of goes to show how F1 is still really in its infancy. It's definitely growing in America. It's gaining popularity. It's getting there more and more every year. But people still don't really know the drivers. They don't really know the teams. They don't have an in-depth knowledge of everything that's going on just yet. They know that they like Ferrari, the road car, so they're holding a Ferrari sign up in the air. So not a lot of people holding signs. As we see Heikki. Very nice picture of Heikki there, actually. That's one of the better pictures that I took from this location. It was kind of hard to get it to focus past the fence that was in front of us. Mm-hmm. So I had a hard time getting some of these pictures, but that was Heikki, of course. And I believe that is Lewis and Pastor Maldonado. When I was putting these together, I put little things at the bottom to identify which cars were who, but that doesn't seem to have come through, but no big deal. That's a Force India, obviously. I was just snapping away. I don't even care. Just snap. Every car that comes through.
Yeah. So what did you think about the track?
I loved it. I love the track. I mean, it's a lot better than Indianapolis, which I think is really what you need to compare it to. You got to compare this track to other US Grand Prix tracks, and in that case, it's by far the best one, if you ask me. Compared to other tracks on the calendar, it's probably in my top 5, I would say. I obviously, if you guys are familiar with our videos, I really like Malaysia, really high speed, long corners as well. Lots of places for overtaking and such. And I really enjoy Korea as well. And I enjoy Circuit of the Americas as well. I enjoy tracks that are kind of varied. And Sector 1 of Circuit of the Americas is very different from Sector 2 and even more different from Sector 3. So it's you get a lot of different elements in the one track, which is great, because then it's not a one-off race. Sometimes you see like Monza and Singapore, Monaco. Teams bring packages specific just for that one event, pretty much. But with Circuit of the Americas, it's very similar to a lot of other tracks as far as the amount of downforce required versus the amount of drag reduction required and that sort of thing.
Yeah, we're getting close to the end, so
Yep. That is the end, actually. So thanks for watching, guys. There is going to be another slideshow that we're going to do of the pictures that I took for FP2. So make sure you guys look out for that.
Yeah, we'll see you there.
Bye-bye.